to read the handout that I've just given out. You may highlight or write any notes on it.
It's difficult because your teacher is talking in front and you try to pay attention, but you will be noticing, oh, who just walked past the classroom? Oh, I know that person. Oh, look, my friend is twiddling his pen. Where did he buy this pen from? Oh, I can hear the girl behind me drinking water from her water bottle. And basically, all these small little things catch your attention while you're trying to pay attention. So by the end of it, 30 minutes over, the bell rings and you're like, oh no, I didn't learn anything during my class.
ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So largely the symptoms of this disorder can be classified into two main types.
Students with ADHD present with two main clusters of symptoms: hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattentiveness, or both of the above.
ADHD symptoms usually come on early in life, age of before 7. They don't play by rules, they're aggressive, they're impulsive. So this affects their peer relationship. Because of their misbehavior, teachers or even parents or other parents and friends might be labeling them names like they are stupid, lazy, naughty.
Statistics have shown that 5% of schooling children around the world have ADHD. In Singapore's context, it would mean that out of a class of 40 students, 1 or 2 of them are likely to be children with ADHD. More often, boys with ADHD are easier to detect than girls with ADHD.
We may not know that they are ADHD children. Teachers, all of us will have to be more aware of how our children behave, why they behave so badly in class. What is it that makes them behave that way? We have to identify such kids.
You try and do your best, but you still just pass your exam. And all your teachers think that you're not putting the effort, although you are slogging so hard. And it's mainly frustration, a very deep sense of frustration, and you just want to give up.
Children with ADHD exhibit the following behavior traits: inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. They may have difficulty listening to others or focusing on tasks without interrupting others or being distracted. They lose things and forget instructions given or conveyed to them. Impulsivity. Children with ADHD find it difficult to wait for their turn in games or group activities. They will often demand for things to be given immediately and very often shout out answers to questions, even before questions posed have been completed. Hyperactivity. In class, children with ADHD walk around a lot. They find it difficult to sit still, very often creating a mess wherever they go. They will squirm in their seats or fidget with their hands or feet if instructed to remain seated.
This child will be on the run across many different situations. It's hard for him to remain seated, for example in the classroom or at the dining table, or on public transport such as the MRT or buses. Because parents sometimes have difficulty understanding what is the problem with their child. But the teacher with the experience are more skilled at identifying children who may be inattentive, hyperactive, or both. So identification that the child has a treatable problem is really the most important step towards the treatment of ADHD.
ADHD is manageable with proper care from teachers and family members. As teachers, your help is needed to manage the condition of students with ADHD when they are in school. Here are some practical tips on how you can manage students with ADHD in your class, as well as create a conducive classroom and learning environment for both the child with ADHD and the rest of the class. Do not seat students with ADHD near high-traffic areas and windows, as this will distract them. Be very clear and firm with the classroom rules, and set up a routine or structure for all your lessons. Write important messages down in a dedicated space on the whiteboard. This allows students with ADHD to constantly refer to them visually. Plan lesson transitions carefully. Remind students of expected behavior that is critical to the lesson before the start of it. In this way, the student with ADHD will have a clearer view of what is expected of him or her and can better follow the lesson. If the student with ADHD in your class is identified as a visual learner, you can work to create visually engaging and interesting teaching resources like videos or images. Providing simple, uncluttered handouts will also serve to keep the student with ADHD on track with the task at hand. When teaching a new concept or idea, try to use verbal analogies or stories to help students with ADHD understand. Appropriate use of music or audio teaching aids may also increase their productivity. Take the load off your shoulders. You can assign an organized, responsible, and caring student as a buddy for the student with ADHD. Having a buddy means that the student with ADHD can receive friendly prompts for tasks and directives. Most students with ADHD cope best when they are presented with activities that include the use of at least 2 of the 5 senses. Most students with ADHD are good kinesthetic learners who learn by doing. As such, hands-on tasks can capture their attention for a longer period and learning can be better facilitated. Whenever possible, try to infuse more hands-on activities in the classroom, such as the use of teaching manipulatives. A more student-centered collaborative learning approach would also work better than teacher-directed lecture-style lessons. As you attempt to include the student with ADHD in your lesson activities, beware of how the rest of the class is interacting with him or her. While the student with ADHD requires your constant monitoring to learn well, you should not focus on him or her too much, as it will put the student with ADHD even more in the spotlight. During lessons, you can allow your students with ADHD to do the following simple in-class tasks. Clean the whiteboard whenever you require. Move around the class to give out books and materials to classmates. Run errands, such as carrying books from your desk to the classroom. Assist in lesson presentations by clicking slide transitions for you. Allow short breaks during lessons for the class to engage in some form of physical activity. This helps to work off some of the pent-up energy in students with ADHD. Praise works as positive reinforcement that conditions the student with ADHD to prolong desired behavior. It is a good teaching practice to praise the student with ADHD immediately whenever positive behavior is exhibited.
This will help them to associate the positive behavior with the reward. A praise should come after the positive behavior shown and should also be specific so that the child is encouraged to continue this good behavior. The child may not understand why he or she is being praised. One could actually be more specific. For example, thank you, John, for emptying the waste paper basket. Then it becomes some specific.
They don't know they're ADHD children, so when they're naughty, they actually punish them in all kinds of ways.
Andy, why so forgetful? Then I'll bring your work again. I'm getting very impatient with you. You get it? Stay outside the classroom. Do not enter the class anymore.
One fine day, you might be in a class with a child who just can't pay attention, just can't sit still, and instead of scolding him or sending him to a corner, sending him to the principal's office and just writing him out as a troublemaker, you should actually just sit down, think about it, and just remember that not all students are going to pass through your class without any incident. Some of them are going to give you problems.
Always remain calm and composed when addressing disciplinary issues with a student with ADHD. As with encouragement, this should also be done immediately after an undesirable behavior is observed. Describe clearly to the student with ADHD what should be done instead. Always keep in mind that encouragement works better than punishment. At the end of every class, students can reflect on what they have learned. This will allow you to check that all students, including students with ADHD, have understood the lesson. The student with ADHD should keep a notebook containing daily updates of the student's academic progress, homework, and feedback from you on his or her behavior in school. This will enable the necessary collaboration between you and the parents in monitoring the progress of their child with ADHD.
Hi, can I speak to Annie's mom, please?
If in doubt, you may wish to speak to the school counselor or clinical experts to gain insight into the management of students with ADHD in the classroom. For any strategy to work effectively, you will have to be consistent with its implementation and also be firm but patient with a student with ADHD. Strategies should also be applied with constant reviews about their usefulness and effectiveness.
If the child is not behaving normally, if the child misbehaves in the class, it's being brought up in the teachers' meeting. And we even come up with a plan, speak to the parents, visit the home, and see whether we need a program for the child.
Children with ADHD can achieve as much as other children. Remember that every child is unique and requires your unconditional, positive regard.
Children with ADHD can outgrow their symptoms, and from longitudinal studies, what we know is that maybe about half of them may have outgrown, so to speak, these symptoms in their teenage years.
I'm a fifth-year medical student. I want to be a psychiatrist. Partially because of the experience I've had, I do want to help people with ADHD also, because I think that it's important to correct the confidence that has been lost over the years when you realize that you're not doing as well as your friends, teachers think you're stupid, and you just develop this extreme despair because you can't live up to your own potential. If you pick him out, he might end up becoming the next right lawyer or excellent, inspiring teacher.
Once the child trusts you and knows that you are there for the child, she will trust you all the way.
Take some time to evaluate the strategies to find the best mix that works for both the student and yourself. You can help manage ADHD.